You have got to be kidding me. That was just such a disgusting performance by this Green Bay Packers football team in week 3, losing to the Cleveland Browns 13-10. And the ending of this game, I mean, that was one of the worst endings, honestly, I've seen for the Green Bay Packers. Like, everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And first, credit to Cleveland. Shout out Cleveland Browns fans. You guys hung in there to the very end and you got it done. But there's a lot to talk about. And it's only week 3, and that's why you can't crown champions after 2 weeks, and you can't eliminate teams after 3. But there's still a lot to talk about because, this offense looked absolutely abysmal today. And we got to go over everything. We got to break it all down. So here's my instant thoughts, reactions, breakdown of this nasty game. The Packers are now 2-1, and if you after 3 weeks told me the Packers would be 2-1, I'd almost guarantee the loss wasn't to the Cleveland Browns. It'd be either to the Commanders or the Lions, but that's not the case. Now we have to transition into week 4 against the Cowboys after losing to the Browns. But man, there's a lot to talk about. So let's just get into it. Quickly wanted to give a shout out to Sleeper, and just like the Green Bay Packers, nothing was going for me on Sleeper today, and I didn't hit, I think, any of these picks outside of the free pick of Michael Penix, which that almost didn't hit because the Falcons looked just as garbage. Jacobs didn't get a touchdown. Fannin didn't have more than 34.5 receiving yards. Wicks didn't have 3.5 or more receptions. If you want to check out Sleeper and going forward, probably fade my picks, use code BASS when making a deposit to get it matched 100% up to $100. Massive shout out to Sleeper. Go make your picks for Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, or in-game picks, as you can do right now as the 4 o'clock games are ongoing. All right, so let's just dive down into this thing. When you take a look at the team stats, the Green Bay Packers had more yards than the Cleveland Browns. They had more time of possession. They had more passing yards. They had slightly less rushing yards. Rushing attack still a problem. But what was the worst thing out of this game in terms of, dumb mistakes was, penalties and Jordan Love's interception, which we'll talk about. But 14 penalties by this Green Bay Packers team is not how you win football games. It felt like a preseason game. We had an illegal formation on a punt. We had 3 false starts by Jordan Morgan. He had an awful day. The whole offensive line as a whole didn't play well. We had multiple, illegal contact, defensive holding, defensive pass interference. There's a lot of flags. The refs didn't lose this game for the Green Bay Packers. Not at all. The Packers, definitely just put on an absolute stinker on offense, and that's why they lost this game. It was just a very, very poor performance overall by this football team on offense. Shout out to the defense though. I can't blame them at all for this. 0 points going into half allowed. You didn't allow a touchdown through the first 3 quarters. You haven't allowed a touchdown through the first 3 quarters in every single game this year. And the Browns, all their points outside of the 1 field goal drive that they just ran the ball well with Judkins were a result of either the offense or the special teams putting you in a horrible position. With Love's interception, the blocked field goal, putting the defense in a horrible position. I can't be mad at the defense, but what we can definitely be mad at is the preparation on this offense. And, just the play of Jordan Love, the offensive line, Matt LaFleur's play calls. First, let's just dive into Jordan Love, why don't we? 18 for 25, 183 yards, a touchdown, a pick at the worst time, 5 sacks, an 89.2 rating. I feel like when Jordan Love is off the mark, he's really off the mark. It seemed today he was very timid. He was very hesitant. It seemed like every time, not every time, but most of the time, his first read, he just held the ball and he's like, I can't do that. And again, we got to see the coach's film. We'll break it down on Tuesday. But I don't know if they were just locking down his first read all day. But Jordan Love's got to be able to rotate into a second read quickly and make that throw. But he held the ball too long a lot of times, and a combination of the offensive line just not doing a good job against stunts, not a good job, picking or chipping or double teaming players like Myles Garrett. Didn't do a good job at that, and he got sacked 5 times. And the one thing with Love is he has to know when to give up on a play, right? I like the ability to extend a play. You saw it on that touchdown throw he had. I like the ability to extend a play, but the one sack he took. I think it was Carson Schweisinger on that 3rd and 1 when they didn't even have to snap the ball, mind you. It's just inexcusable. throw the ball away. Live to play another down. It's 4th and 1. You could probably just go for it and get it, maybe. But now you definitely have to punt. And overall, it just seemed like Jordan Love was hesitant in the pocket. He wasn't really sure of his reads. He wasn't trusting his receivers, it seemed, today. And on top of that, there was nothing that challenged the Browns vertically. Outside of the Matthew Golden 9 route for 35 yards, which I don't know why he ran out of bounds, but it was still great to see. And the Romeo Doubs PI on the slot fade, there was nothing else vertical today. And that was a problem. Everything was a swing pass, a check down, an RPO, a screenplay. And they should have done more screens, honestly, for being honest. But nothing was vertically in the middle of the field. Nothing today. There was no, to my recollection, the Packers didn't throw anything over 10 yards over the middle of the field. There might be 1 or 2. That's like 12 yards, maybe. I honestly believe they didn't. And that's a problem. I mean, the Browns do play a lot of man coverage. It didn't seem like they did today, and they're smart for that because the Packers absolutely dominated man coverage against the Lions and the Commanders. So it's smart of them running more zone today. I saw them in quarters a couple of the times that just locked it down. But overall, like, there was nothing developing downfield. And you need that. And credit to the Browns defense. This is a terrific defense. They're not a trash defense. They played against the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Packers. And Bengals with Burrow, and are still going to be the number 1 defense in terms of yards, rushing yards, maybe even passing yards at this point. I mean, they were 3rd in passing yards, but just allowed only 183 to Love. So we'll see where it lands them after 3 weeks. But they're still going to be considered one of the top defenses, and they showed that, only allowing 10 points here to the Green Bay Packers, who scored 27 both games, 1 and 2, against good defenses. So, this Browns defense is good, but in the same sense, in the same breath, this Packers offense played like hot garbage today. There's no real way to sugarcoat it. Like, when you leave this game and the 3 things that are positive from your offense, one is a 35-yard 9 route to Golden. Another one is Romeo Doubs looked good and clutch on 3rd downs. And then the third one is John Fitzpatrick got his first touchdown of his career. Like, if one of the top 3 things you're leaving with on offense is John Fitzpatrick, and all respect to Fitzpatrick, wonderful play, is that he got his first touchdown, you probably didn't have a great day on offense, if we're being honest. And it wasn't. It really wasn't. Josh, again, this running game was poor, and to be expected. Like, the Browns have such a good run defense, but you got to get something going. Like, I feel like the Packers get too much into this whole misdirection, shotgun, pistol, orbit motion, misdirection type of stuff. They get too cute when it's like, hey, you got Josh Jacobs, get under center and run the damn ball. Like, it's not that difficult, right? Like, obviously it was today against a really good defense, but Jacobs, 16 carries for 30 yards, 1.9 average. He probably has like a 2.5 average on the year. Like, that's just how poor it's been through the first 3 weeks. Emmanuel Wilson saw some success, 6 for 25, 4.2 average. And given Jacobs was entering this game with an ankle injury all week, like, he was limited all week, so maybe that had to play, that was a factor. It definitely was. But Jordan Love ran the ball well in read options. 4 carries, 18 yards, 4.5 average. I did like the Packers kind of throwing in those wrinkles. They had 3 end-arounds to Golden that went from a whopping 9 yards. It's like, okay, clearly the defense contained that well and saw it coming. Why are we doing it 3 times? And then Savion Williams ran Wildcat twice. It's like, you scored 10 points. Like, why are we bringing out Wildcat, right? Like, it's nice every once in a while for a change of pace when maybe, you're just trying to get a little momentum back or whatnot. But when you barely can move the ball, like, why are we running Wildcat? I don't know. It's just like, I like it. I like the looks. I like implementing Savion, but like in a game like this that is so close and your offense just can't seem to get in a rhythm, it's like, why take Jordan Love completely out of the play? I don't know. When you want to try to get him in rhythm, it doesn't make much sense to me. As for the offensive line, we kind of already talked about it. Zach Tom suited up for this game, re-injured his oblique injury, play 1. Unfortunate. I really hope he's okay, and we'll see, but I don't expect him to be back until after the bye. Jordan Morgan slides in at right tackle for first time ever playing right tackle in a game and has a horrible performance, 3 false starts. Elton Jenkins, I think, had a horrible day at center. Aaron Banks had a horrible day at left guard. He hasn't looked good in the 2 games we've seen him. Even checked out with injury during this game, where then Morgan moved to left guard, had another penalty. I think it was Belton at right tackle. Then Rasheed Walker had to check out because his face mask came off, and we had Belton sliding to left tackle, Kennard in at right tackle. Like, there's so many different combinations, and your offensive line is most likely going to struggle when that happens. When there's so many different combinations, there's not going to be much continuity, especially against a good defense. And that was very, very true today. Like, it was a combination of Love holding the ball too long, but also the offensive line not doing a wonderful job. And through the first 2 weeks, they've done a terrific job. Today, that was not the case. As for the Packers receiving, for the first time, Matthew Golden was the leading receiver, but only 4 catches, 52 yards. Like, we got to get this thing going. We just lost Jaden Reed, and I was confident, hey, the Packers, we'll be fine without Reed. And again, wonderful defense for the Cleveland Browns. So you kind of expect to be, not go out there and score 27 points, right, and have a 100-yard receiver or whatnot. But, someone's got to step up. I thought it'd be Wicks today, since the Browns play a lot of man coverage. He's a man coverage beater. Their slot corner isn't that good. That wasn't the case. Wicks had 2 catches for 21 yards, albeit one was erased by an ineligible man downfield by Rasheed Walker, so that was unfortunate. Jacobs was the second leading receiver, 5 catches, 44 yards on 9 targets. That's what I'm saying. Like, we had to throw swing passes and flat passes and like passes within 3 yards of the line of scrimmage all day. Like, we had to threaten them vertically across the middle, and maybe it's because Tucker Kraft couldn't play to his full extent, but then it's like, then don't play. Like, use Musgrave. Maybe that would have had to change at pace. Kraft still finished 3 catches, 29 yards, but had a drop, and I don't know. It's just, he didn't look like himself today. So that probably affected the middle of the field, or the inability to attack the middle of the field. Dobbs, 2 for 25. He was clutch on third downs. Don't have any, concerns on Dobbs and today for the offense. Fitzpatrick, like I said, got his first touchdown. Shout out Fitzpatrick. But again, if that's what you're victory lapping about out of this game, you probably didn't do too great on offense. Some other notes that I had that I was writing down from offense, we did see Bo Melton come out at wide receivers, do like a fake end around, so that was cool, I guess. Matt LaFleur won another challenge on the 12 men on the defense, so that was cool. And then the tempo just seemed off today. Like, getting the plays into the huddle and then getting up to the line of scrimmage, it seemed completely off. It just reminded me of when Rodgers was here, and it's like every time the play clock's going down to 2 seconds, and it's like, come on, we're giving the defense the advantage here by, essentially being able to jump the snap, because you got to snap it when it goes down to 1 second. Had to take multiple, wasted timeouts. You snap the ball when you don't have to at the end of the third, when the Packers never do that. And I get you're maybe trying to catch them off guard by doing that because you never do that, but it didn't work. The tempo was just not it today. And I don't know if that was Matt LaFleur just hesitating, Jordan Love hesitating, because it wasn't the stadium. It wasn't loud. There's tons of Packers fans. They were chanting "Go Pack Go" on the Browns' first drive, so it wasn't loud enough to, on third downs, I got a little rowdy, but it wasn't anything you couldn't handle. It wasn't a Detroit situation where you can't hear anything. The tempo just wasn't there. It really, really wasn't there. Love was hesitant. No vertical, no attacking vertical, no middle of the field. The horrible interception by Love, when Love throws interceptions, it's just like they're bad. Like when when he throws them, they're bad. It's not like, oh, it's a 1v1 on the outside and you take your shot and you live by it and the defender makes a great play and picks it up. No, like he stared down the slant on Golden, then Grant Delpit just had an easy interception. Love's got to be able to dictate and move defenders with his eyes and then come back to and trust his other guys. You can't stare down a slant route on third down. Like a safety as good as Grant Delpit is, that's going to happen. You cannot throw an interception in that situation. Worst case, you get off the field on third down, you punt it, and you force the Browns to move the ball yet again, which your defense was having a wonderful day. But giving the ball right to them inside the 10, you're asking to get scored on. And that's exactly what happened and gave the Browns the tie. And then you're sitting there going, hey, we still have a chance. We can go and win this game, get out of here. It's an ugly one, but we can go and win the game and get out of here. And you get in a position to kick a field goal after a PI, a big play to Tucker Kraft. You get all the way down to the 25-yard line. Then you have a penalty, another false start. It's like, really? Then you have some okay-ish runs, not really, a -1, then a gain of 2, whatever. Right hash. This is a gimme for Brandon McManus. And it got blocked up the middle. First off, you got to get more height on that ball if you're McManus. It looked like a poor snap as well from Orzik, so you got to do that. You do better there, but you got to get more height on that. It's a 44-yarder. You don't got to drive it. You're McManus. You have so much power on your leg. Just get a little height on that. Don't even allow it to be blocked up the middle. Do we have the conversation about Bisaccia because he's the highest paid special teams coordinator yet? It seems like every year we can point to a couple games that the special teams is just an absolute collapse, whether it's just mistakes, penalties, or both, which that was the case today. Do we need to have that conversation that maybe Rich Bisaccia isn't the guy for the job here in Green Bay on special teams? Maybe, but I mean, the special teams essentially, the offense and special teams lost this game. So now flipping over to the defense, this is a unit that I still am proud of leaving this game. Like, if you look at the box score, you're like, wow, you lost this game, and Joe Flacco's offense scored 13 points. They had to have played bad, right? No, like every time the outside of the one drive that ended in 3 because they ran the ball well, the defense was put in horrible positions from the offense and the special teams. So you can't even really be that mad. Like, not allowing any points in the whole first half is awesome. Not allowing a touchdown in the first 3 quarters, the same as weeks 1 and 2, is awesome. The defense played fine. There were some mistakes here and there. A tight end was still the leading receiver against us, and Njoku, just like week 1 with Laporta, week 2 with Zach Ertz. Tight ends continue to kind of beat us up a little bit, but 5 catches, 40 yards, like, you'll live by that. Their leading receiver had 26 yards in Cedric Tillman. You'll live by that. Our corners, yet again, played great. Had a couple holding calls, yeah. The refs were pretty much calling everything. That it was even a slight bit of a tug. But overall, like, you're happy with the pass defense. The run defense didn't look as good as it did through the first 2 weeks. I'll say that, mainly due to that one drive where Judkins broke off a 38-yard run, but the defense was tired at that point. They kept getting put back on the field, and they looked gassed. They weren't swarming like we saw, weeks 1 and 2. They were missing tackles, not wrapping up. Players weren't swarming to the football and helping tackle. Harold Fannin break like out of a group of 3 players and gain a first down. You can't have that. Like, the defense, yes, had an overall good game and did enough to win this game. But you still had a couple mistakes there for this defense. Flacco didn't do anything that was like, wow, he won the game for them. 21 of 36, 142, no touchdowns, a pick. He averaged 3.9 yards per play. Like, if you were to tell me that stat line of Joe Flacco, 21 of 36, 142, 3.9 average, 0 touchdowns, and a pick, I'd say the Packers won by 20 points. Like, if that's all I knew, that was the only context I knew, I'd be like, yeah, the Packers crushed them this game. So, yeah, the defense is fine. Got to clean up a couple things in the run game. And honestly, like, I feel like on a lot of those Judkin runs, like, Colby Wooden and Devontae Wyatt were getting held heavily. Again, the Packers didn't lose because of the refs, but there was a couple times on that D-line, I'm like, dude, they're hands to face, getting held. Parsons a couple times. Still had a lot of pressure. Big game from Rashawn Gary, who now has 8 straight games with a sack. He's been great since the addition of Micah Parsons, getting tons of one-on-one opportunities. Lucas Van Ness looked good, got some push early, some run defense. I thought Isaiah McDuffie looked super solid. He hasn't been playing much, but the Packers had to play more base today because the Browns are running a heavier, personnel with multiple tight ends, H-backs, that sort of thing. So we had to play more base and help against the run, and McDuffie did a good job against the run today. I thought Parsons, again, had a good game. Can't be going off sides late there, but I think the kick would have been good from 5 more yards anyways. But Parsons didn't end up with a sack, I believe. No, didn't end up with a sack. Did have 2 tackles, but I think had 6 or something around there pressures. Had 2 quarterback hits. The one pressure he had was like a stand-up A-gap pressure on a stunt. That was great to see. Still need a little bit more. Like, it seems like Parsons was still on the sideline more than he should be. Like, whether he was gassed or I don't know. I think he got poked in the eye early, had to get his visor put on his helmet. It seemed like a couple times it's like, why isn't he on the field, right? He's off the injury report, so you would expect, like, he's available, like, get him out on the field, play him 80% of the snaps like he was getting in Dallas, right? You just traded 2 first rounds and Kenny Clark and paid him a ton of money. Get him on the field. If he's healthy, get him on the field. So want to see more from Parsons in terms of playtime, that's for sure. But overall, I'm not mad at this defense. Like, at all. Like, I liked what I saw from Nixon, Hobbs, Bullard. Hopefully he's okay. Had a pretty nasty collision with Quay Walker, and seemingly it looked like a concussion. Did walk off on his own. Zach Tom left with an injury. That's another injury that's, probably don't have him next week. But, you got to go into this game prepared to not have Zach Tom due to this injury, and that's exactly what happened. But, man, overall, just bad clock management today. Dumb penalties, wasted timeouts, poor offensive play calls, poor offensive execution. The defense did enough to win this game. The offense simply couldn't finish it in the end. And the special teams as well couldn't finish it in the end. An ugly, ugly loss. But it's only 3 weeks. It's only 3 weeks. We have a lot more football to be played. Like I said, you can't crown a winner after 2 weeks just as much as you can't eliminate a team after 3. There's a lot of football to be played. And the Packers, now head to Dallas next Sunday night. It's going to be a big game, right? A much better offense than the Cleveland Browns now, albeit their defense is not nearly as good, but the Packers usually do pretty well in Dallas. So you'd really hope we see a solid bounce back game here in week 4. It's not about what just happened as much as it is like, hey, how do you respond moving into week 4, right? Then you have a bye week 5. You don't want to put out another poor product week 4 and then you're heading into the bye. Like, what in the world just happened? We were 2-0, beating 2 of the best teams in the NFC. Now we're potentially, they could end up 2-2 heading into the bye. You don't want that. Like, you need to respond. Take what you need from this game, clean it up, fix it, move on to the next, right? But at the end of the day, it still happened, so we had to talk about it. How poor this offense just looked and how just poorly managed the offense and just overall it looked today. It just was not pretty. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the game. I'm sure there'll be a lot of overreactions due to this game. There'll be a lot of trash talk, of course. I mean, Vikings, Bears fans, Lions fans, they're all going to be talking trash, as they should. We just lost to the Cleveland Browns in their brown uniforms sponsored by Dude Wipes. We deserve it. We deserve it this week. Not even going to lie. Not even gonna sugarcoat it, but really appreciate you guys coming by to the channel. Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Leave a like, click subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Want to stay in the loop with everything Green Bay Packers this season. You'll find it all here right on this channel. Film review on Tuesday is going to be fun. PFF grades tomorrow is going to be fun, so be on the lookout for all that. But I'll catch you on the next one, and as always, go Pack Go.